Yes, folks, welcome to the first episode of Backyard Cooking with DWeezy. Here, this will be an educational slash tutorial video in a series of videos to help people broaden their horizon in the sports gambling world. Now, in my experience, a lot of the disconnect for people simply boils down to the terminology in the sense they don't understand what it means. So hopefully this video and the videos that follow will help explain and cover some of that terminology and also some of the different types of sports betting plays that exist out there. Because honestly, in my personal opinion, this isn't as complex as people seem to think it is. It's just a simple matter of being lost in translation. So let's take a look at some of the things that hopefully will help bridge that gap. Now, first up, we have what's known as betting the spread. Now, betting the spread is a very common type of play and is often represented as a point spread. Now, simply put, if you are betting the spread, what is the spread? The spread is an adjusted score. If team A is minus 7 points on the spread, that means in the instance of a tie game, 10-10 versus the spread, that score is actually 3-10. So for team A to win against the spread, they would have to win by 8 points. Now, for some people, they prefer to think of this as team A minus those points, minus 7. Other people prefer to look at it as the other team getting 7 points. Thus, where you'll hear people reference getting points in the instance where they're taking that underdog that's getting those points, or giving up the points in reference to taking the favorite, taking team A that was minus that 7 points. Now, often you will see the spread given to the home team. Now, whether that number is a plus or a minus number, the philosophy is still the same. It's the exact same thing. Plus 10 simply means that team is plus 10 points. If that that being said, the other team is minus 10 points. So as long as the team getting those 10 points wins or loses by less 10 points or less, you still win or push on the spread, in which case would be a tie. But that brings me to my next point where a lot of people will ask, what is a half point? Now, how can a half point be achieved? And the simple answer is it can't. That is the purpose of half a point. It prevents the tie from being possible, regardless of what type of bet you're talking about, whether it be on the spread, whether it be a prop bet, a total bet. A half point simply prevents a tie. That's all it does. Now, that may sound very simple, but to go back to our earlier reference where Team A was minus 7, down by 3, or excuse me, down by 7, say Team A wins by 7. That's a push. Well, with a 7 minus 7.5 spread, that becomes a loss. So that half point can be very fickle, often known as a hook. 7 and a hook. You were giving up 7 and a hook, meaning minus 7.5 points. Now, as I move on to my next topic, which is another very common topic or that exists, and that is how to bet the money line. Now, you often see the money line represented as just simply ML. This refers to taking the outright winners in a game and is represented in plus minus odds. Now, for those that don't know, even money would be plus 100. If you bet $100, you win back $100. If the team is minus 110 or if the bet is minus 110, you have to bet 110 to win $100. On the flip side of that, if a team is plus 110, you bet $100, you win 110 in return. So the money line will always be represented as a plus or minus odds. And in most cases, it can be difficult to find value here, in my opinion. In some sports, you can see the favorite be a heavily juiced number in reference to how much of a favorite the team is to win. In sports like baseball, you may see a team on the money line be minus 200 or even or more, minus 250. Means for $100 better, you would have to bet 200 or $250 to win back $100 on that game. For a lot of people, this isn't attractive and doesn't appeal to them. And for a lot of people that prefer to chase underdogs, this is where they look to. If you have a feeling that an underdog is going to come through with the outright victory, often you will find people making bets on the money line for that underdog. An underdog will always be a plus number. And as I just mentioned, if a team is minus 200 to win a game, that means that underdog is likely somewhere in the range of plus 160, plus 170, meaning if you bet $100, you would win back 160 in that instant. So as we move on to my next point, I wanted to touch on something that can be found in some sports, but not all, and that is a three-way market. And what that does with the money line is it offers the possibility of the draw. Now, in soccer, you can take the draw quite oftenly as a option to the money line, and you will see the odds sometimes be more in favor in a sport like that of the draw occurring. In a sport like hockey, you can find three-way markets that offer a final score in regulation, which simply means that if the game ends in a tie, what is that total score? Yeah, overtime doesn't matter in that instance, but all a three-way market with the money line does is offers a draw as a possibility. So, folks, I hope y'all find this educational and helpful and maybe expanded your horizons a little bit on what some of the basics for sports gambling is. As I've said before, DWeezy's always here to pass along any insight and know-how and knowledge that I may have because honestly, I'm here to help you. So make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. If you feel like this content is helping you, reach out, leave a question in the comments. I'll be happy to answer in any way that I can and pass along any help that I may have to offer. Y'all can get at me at Twitter at DWeatherly90. You can catch me Wednesdays on Lunch Break Hot Takes live every week. And you can also catch more content on Backyard Action Media here with sports gambling in general, as far as future plays that may be occurring, as well as future videos in this series of Backyard Cooking with DWeezy. Everybody take care out there.